Yeah, people are, like you said, people are jockeying for position. They're, it seems like they're thinking in a shorter time frame in terms of the volatility on Pulse Chain right now. So it could take a minute for Pete and Atropa to go for it again. And then also like Pulse Chain, like I feel like Pulse Chain is way too cheap, and I don't know if the demand's going to come in right away, but in the grand scheme of things, I get the sense that there's not that many Pulse Chain tokens available. So yeah, keep an eye on Pulse Chain and the sentiment around that. But we are in this limbo because of Richard Hart and his situation. However, I will say that Pulse Chain is going to operate no matter what happens with that case with him, and the case is specifically with him as an individual. That there's no Pulse Chain getting served or Hex getting served in this case. So there is a distinction there, and it will help when things are resolved with the case between Richard and the SEC. But if I'm not mistaken, it is Richard Hart, the individual, and the SEC. So Pulse Chain is going to do its thing one way or another.
I just had a question. I haven't spent a ton of time on Pulse Chain. I did when it first launched, and there was the whole bridging thing with Ethereum. And I feel like Zuka, I may have actually once conversated with you. I don't remember. Anyway, that's not the point. What's the validator like set look like on Pulse Chain? Because I know you said it's going to be running anyway, which makes sense. I just never really spent time looking at like who's validating transactions. Anybody have a sense for it?
I think there's over 43,000 validators right now on Pulse Chain.
Oh, that's based. What's the and like?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry, I'm just like super noob to Pulse Chain. So forgive me if my questions are really stupid, but like any info you guys got, I would love to listen to. Like, what's the current vibe? Like, for example, like we had the meme coin summer for like Ethereum and like Solana, and like now there's the AVAX Social Fi after Friend Tech. Like, what's kind of the vibe on Pulse Chain right now?
So right now, and I mean, in terms of my opinion, the vibe is like we have a great community, right? From like when Hex was around on Ethereum side, and everybody like following Richard into Pulse Chain. So there's a great community vibe right now. Everybody's super stoked on the whole like super decentralized aspect. Richard obviously is like in control of the majority of the Pulse Chain supply. And in terms of like centralization, obviously it's a bit more centralized instead of decentralized. But in our minds, it's like it's a bit more decentralized because Richard is a benevolent actor. He'd rather have himself being in control of Pulse Chain than having some other people having tons of the supply and being able to control things. So it's definitely bullish in that sense. I think that everything is like super down right now because of the SEC case. So in terms of like, buying into Pulse Chain at this point, I mean, prices are super, super juicy, way, way lower than anybody had sacrificed for. I mean, like over 50% down from the sacrifice, I believe, or even maybe 100%.
Wait, what's the sacrifice?
So basically, before Pulse Chain launched, people could sacrifice certain tokens to be able to get an airdrop of Pulse Chain when it launched. And so there was over $2 billion worth of cryptocurrency sacrificed so that Pulse Chain could exist, basically. But all of those funds, all those sacrifice funds, are still in a wallet, right? They have not been even touched. They were not used to pay developers or whatever into Pulse to create Pulse Chain or anything like that. It was basically like a donation that's just like sitting in a wallet that's called like a no expectations wallet. So basically, nobody has any expectations of anybody using these funds for anything. They're literally just there sitting, and people can like take a look at it any time.
Wow. What types of what cryptocurrencies are inside of that, like approximately?
So lots of DAI. I think there was like $600,000 worth of DAI that was sacrificed. There was tons of Hex, tons of Ethereum, other tokens.
Wow.
I'm not super familiar with it all. Honestly, there may be somebody else better that can speak on it, but that's what I do know.
Yeah,
so far.
there was a lot of SHIB too that got sacrificed, which is pretty cool. So like the SHIB community definitely got involved, and I know there's a lot of ETH bros watching right now. Just scrolling down this chat, and so like one of the biggest narratives. So when Pulse Chain launched, it was kind of like obviously it was a dead chain at first. Some things popped off. People were launching their initial projects. But one of the biggest things that started this new bubbling narrative of speculation on Pulsechain was PDOI. So if anyone understands about knows anything about Pulsechain, they know that it's a system state fork copy of Ethereum. So every single ERC20 asset got copied over, and on launch they had zero value. So basically they were worthless, right? Well, you watch, you got your EDI and it forks over, and the price basically goes to like 5 zeros and a one. So, out of I think like 3 months later, after the chain has been existing, PDI actually started getting some volume. Right, these bots were like buying the token, jacking the price up a little by little, and then this whole new narrative came on that, oh man, like what if PDI goes to $1? And essentially the price of PDOT has skyrocketed since. And just because of that speculation, new coins or the forked over coins like wrapped Bitcoin from Ethereum or ETH Pepe, their forked copies actually started gaining some value as well. So now we have all these new PRC20 assets gaining value. Obviously, they're not the same price as the on the ETH side, but they do have some value. So just that volume alone is actually sparking some speculation, and people are making lots of
Wow.
profits. And just there's bubbling happening over here. There's good vibes.
Has anybody done it for Mog yet?
I do not know when was Mog created.
We're like Mog's like 2-3 months old, I think.
No, so basically the snapshot was back in like early or mid-April. So any ETH coins that were launched pre-April of 2023, those ones were the ones that were copied over. So if you guys are holding like Pepe on Ethereum, if you're holding like Link on Ethereum, if you're holding Crow on Ethereum, like you'll have actually those Pulsechain assets in your wallet when you move over, when you transfer the network over to the Pulsechain side. And you take a look maybe in the pulse scanner with your wallet address, you'll actually see different tokens that you have quantities of that were copied over.
And then there's liquidity to sell it?
Yes.
And get this.
Wow.
So a lot of DAI was sacrificed for Pulsechain, right? So Richard Hart's wallet owns like 250 million DAI. And so that got copied over, right? So now Richard's wallet owns 250 million PDAI. But when anyone who sniped PDAI when it basically went to zero, well, they would have been able to get like billions and billions of PDAI if they aped in. Well, so anyone who did that was a genius, because now the price is up a ton. Obviously, it's not dollar, but it's going there, and there's a burnt liquidity. Someone burnt how much money of liquidity in the PDAI pool?
Like $4 million.
Yeah, so there's $4 million
Wow.
burnt. So there's a market on PDAI, and anyone who buys in with like $1,000 can get 1 million PDAI, and if it goes to $1, well, then that's $1 million right there. Like,
That's sick. Yo, man, Pulsechains, you guys are degenerate as fuck. So you guys got a founder who might go to jail, but if he goes to jail, $2 billion worth of supply of just non-Pulsechain.
Hold on. How would he go to jail?
He wouldn't go to jail. It's the SEC.
Yeah, it's just hypothetical. It's
Yeah,
not
it's a meme. It's a meme. It's like he wouldn't go to jail because
I know it's a meme, but like just be like, where's the fine or some shit like that.
Yeah,
it's not jail. You know what I mean?
It's the SEC, so like it's not the DOJ, so there is no jail.
But the SEC,
Right.
are you pumped about the SEC?
No, I'm saying by saying it's the SEC, it's self-evident that there's no jail.
He's new to Pulsechain, Coach. We're trying to educate him on what's up with Pulsechain. That's all.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just came into the conversation. I apologize.
Yeah. No,
I was like,
I think you got to let me cook a little bit. What I'm saying is like when you have since Richard has so much of the money locked up in his wallets and he's locked up with that other stuff, that's like that can't be sold. So I'm saying like y'all are super degen, like you are running it up on these coins, and all this overhang supply isn't going to be dumped. It's like super base. It's like a degen environment, which I fuck with that. Like that's my vibe. My homie Wolf, who's up here, that's his vibe. Dinesh, that's his vibe. Like we're the fucking degens coming to check out what's good. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah, just curious, man.
Boy, are you gonna love us.
Bro, and I also gotta say, if you hold any NFT on Ethereum, that's all copied over on Pulsechain too. We just have to wait for people to set up front ends so that they can interact with them. So all your NFTs are copied as well. You can.
Wait a second. Well, I'm sorry. You're saying all okay, so we're part of the Mog Coin community. We're based as fuck. You're telling me we can launch a front end on Pulse Chain that lets every NFT holder claim their NFT on that chain?
No, they already have it.
How can we help?
It's already there. It's full system state copy. It's
How
just
did
there.
so you can just claim? Somebody's got to hold my hand here.
Okay, all right. Let me explain. So back in, I think it was March. I get May and March mixed up. I'm pretty sure it's early March. No, it's May because it's going to be May. Okay, yeah, early May, Pulsechain launched. Okay, on that block, Ethereum got forked, Pulsechain launched. So everything that existed in your wallet before that time, like before that date, you got airdrop, quote unquote airdrop, into your wallet. All your NFTs, all your coins, whatever balances you had there, they exist on Pulsechain. Are they worth anything? Probably not, but they're there, right? And yes, Richard Hart took your NFTs, your non-fungible tokens, and made them fungible and copied them. That's basically what happened, right? So yeah, no, you just direct your MetaMask to the new RPC settings, say, hey, look at Pulsechain, and there it is.
Who's got the front end for it, for the NFTs?
Now that's a different story, right? So the contracts are there, the coins are there, right? They're in whatever wallet they're supposed to be in, but are they building front ends for it, or that's part of the adoption of Pulsechain, right? Is getting people over here to basically direct their front ends to adopt Pulsechain.
We're gonna the Mog homies, the Mog community is gonna build the NFT front end because I think that's fucking hilarious.
Let's go, bro.
I think it is hilarious. I think it is hilarious if we take the NFT Ethereum bros, as you put it, and then we have them claim their identical NFTs on Pulse Chain. I think that's fucking hilarious.
There's already multiple front ends. NFT on Pulse is the biggest one with the highest index. Their index right now is 91%.2, something like that.
It's called NFT Pulse.
NFT on pulse.io. That's the website. And then you just connect your website, or you connect your MetaMask to it, and all of your NFT should be in your wallet. They're indexing, or they just allowed ERC1155 on their site, and they have the base whatever.
I think it might be NFT. Oh, NFT Pulse.app, or you said NFTs on Pulse.
NFTONPULSE.io. NFT on Pulse.
Yeah.
And anyone who's interested in Pulse Pepe, or if they got some ePepe or whatever, well, when Pulsechain launched, the first month, Polly came over and dumped all of his tokens, so you can buy Polly's bag and get a bigger bag of Pulse Pepe than him. Just FYI.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you might have a bigger bag than you might realize of some, or it might be worth more than you might think. Some of these PRC20 copies, like Pepe or Chainlink,
the real alpha about
Quant, or if you have a DAI, if you have Ethereum DAI, you could see how much it's worth in PDAI right now.
Where do I go
with your Mog community? Even if you guys didn't hit the snapshot, the real alpha about Pulsechain is let's say the bull run comes and you're paying 1,000 Gwei on Ethereum. You can actually, the way they built their bridge, you can actually bridge in your Mog from Ethereum and then pair it up with anything on Pulsechain or PLSX. And
awesome. You guys have been extremely helpful. Thank you for answering my questions. I'm going to go do some research. I'm out of here. Thank y'all.
Man, Coach, you came up here with guns blazing, you were looking for a fight.
No. Somebody attacks my guy. I just got to stand up for him,
No, man, I connected with him before, and I got a DM him, I think it was a month ago or something like that, just because I saw him in one of the Pepe spaces or whatever, and then I saw him up in the space, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. I interacted with him a month ago, and now here he is. ETH bros are coming over. The ETH bros are coming over, just like the British came.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Honestly, probably one of the first or second times we've had some people from Ethereum and other blockchains come over and ask serious questions like that. It's been cool.
Dude, I love when people geek out when they find out they've got copies of stuff.
Same, man. I'm watching people just come over to this chain and be like, yo, what's up? I love it.
And the funny thing, it's just the beginning, guys. You know, it's just the beginning.
Yeah, like
Like
everyone on
the
Uniswap is
eyeballs.
getting screwed right now. Like
It's like
so hard.
the eyeballs are like just what's going on over here.
I think it's kind of cool that, like, anyone who's coming over now and buys a bag of PLS, they're getting a better price than even some of the most loyal hex kids bought for. Like,
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
you're slapping them in the face at their own game. Like, it's kind of sad.
But bro, that's like the best marketing.
Coins coming out all the time, including 414 coins. It's like people just like spreading their money around, and it's the same people, like Zach said earlier. Like we'll have more adoption, in time. Especially with the bull market and when ETH gas fees go through the roof. But it's like consolidating into the coins you have conviction in makes the most sense to me.
I honestly like I love the activity that's happening on Pulsechain. I see a lot of ETH bros coming over, and like I know there's like some ETH people who are influential, like Dr. Robotnik and some other fellows that have been notorious in the ETH side coming over. Super cool. And I think this is just an example of a little bit and then all at once. I think people are just starting to trickle over and seeing the activity that's happening. And I think when the bull market hits, it's gonna be nuts. Like I'm actually so bullish on the overall ecosystem, and yeah, and I look at PDI too, right? And I see that's being such a bullish narrative going forward, and I look at it as if it's like the Bitcoin on the Pulse chain side. Like I know it's not rapid coin, but like the way it trades, people are like watching the chart because it's such a good chart to do technical analysis on, right? So that PDI attracts a lot of traders. So I would imagine when people do come on over, the main coin that they're going to want to trade is PDI. So that's kind of cool. I mean, a lot of these other tokens, like, of these other altcoins that have a founder, a lot of them are just kind of like either flat or they're just, no one's buying it, right? Like it's such a low volume. But PDI and the Tropa, it's like the bots are making the most natural price chart ever. And I don't know, like I think that attracts a lot of traders, which then obviously pumps up the price in the long term. So I'm holding everything. Like I'm just kind of sitting and waiting. I think patience is going to be rewarded. I'm about to see what happens next. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people like fearing about the 414 wallet minting all these tokens and the price going down. But it's like you got to do your own research with some of these tokens because sometimes they're not worth getting into. And narratives form around them. You just kind of have to identify which one's a more natural narrative and which has been artificially kind of like produced, if that makes sense. Like I know Teddy Bear, like it's the community kind of looks at it as a meme coin, right? So it's a meme coin. It might not even be a meme coin. It might have a utility someday in the future. Like what if there's a utility behind it? We don't know because the person who made it is, no one, like it's almost like a mystery, right? So, but where PDI, it's like like kind of like what you're buying. You're buying an unstable stable coin, and so I think that's gonna be attractive to a lot of people. There's a lot of low activity on Pulse Chain right now, but I feel like it's a calm before the storm. I feel like when things start pumping again, it's going to get crazy. We got a lot of stuff coming out with the Fetch Oracle. And this month, I think, is going to be a very bullish month for Pulse Chain in general. I think it's going to be a little hectic at times. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, gotta buy when things look dead. And also I think like even Bitcoin just moving like $2,000 above that psychological 30 grand level will like make Pulse go up more too, and the other, big coins in the Pulse chain ecosystem. And then that'll start flowing into the alts and all the other PRC20s. So I don't know. Like I who knows? A little mini bull market could be around the corner. I don't know when the actual big one's going to kick off, but we might have some big action coming up Q4 this year or soon.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of like with the whole Maria thing and how like they're like that person's communicating with the community. Some people are kind of like, oh, I don't know, like kind of like wish it was Richard, or some people are saying that like it's not as anonymous anymore. Kind of takes away the mystery. Like some of the fun is kind of died down a little bit, and maybe the narrative's changed a little bit. But one of my biggest focus right now is that like I hope like PDI gets to $1, and like I don't think having Maria kind of like reveal herself in a sense is bearish for PDI, because the fact remains that PDI has its liquidity burnt, and it's one of the most decentralized distributed coins that has no real owner. on Pulsechain, which is super cool because now you got a coin that's well distributed and kind of like, community operated, like it has a healthy chart, healthy trading patterns, and has high volume. The fact is that when PLS starts going up, I kind of look at it as a very like decentralized. I know it's not a meme coin, but like it trades like a meme coin, right? So like probably one of the best distributed meme coins on Pulsechain right now. So like that makes me super bullish in the long term, especially when the bull market is coming up. I think there's a lot of attention is going to be on PDI for sure. But that whole thing about who's the dev and whatever, I think that narrative's changed a little bit, but I don't think it's completely bearish. I think it's still there's still a lot of mystery involved, and I don't think there's no reason to stop looking at it or just walk away. I think I think it's just a quiet time. And I think when the green candles start coming again, people are gonna pay more attention to it.
Yeah, definitely. There's just like I say this all the time. I feel like there's just not a lot of people here in Pulsechain yet. So we're all kind of just like cycling through each other's money and buying into like new releases and seeing how it does and maybe selling out and putting money back other places and kind of just doing this like whole little shuffle game. So it'll be super interesting when we can see like our daily active users go from like 10 to 12,000 to like 20,000, right? So when we have like a double in users, like we're gonna see some crazy shit happen, I think. So I'm super super excited for that. I just don't know like the timeline for that, I guess, because we have this whole SEC case and things. November 28th is going to be that that phone call that they're supposed to have with Richard and the people at the SEC. So that's kind of basically like start stuff off. And what I've heard from other people, this is not something that I know for a fact, but apparently potentially there could be some type of like deal made before the phone call. So I mean, if like the SEC is not, I don't know, if they realize that they don't have shit for a case, or I don't know, something can happen to where maybe they don't have to go all the way with this thing. That would be pretty cool. But it does seem like Richard is like pretty gung ho about fighting this whole thing the whole way through, which I'm stoked for, honestly. The result in the end will be much more bullish if he fights and wins, obviously.
Very true. I was gonna add on to what Zuka said about PDI. It looks like, so I don't know if anybody's been keeping track. I'd like to see like a holder chart. That would be cool if I could see a holder chart, because it's at 156,062 people, over 156K holders. So I know that there were people holding EDI when it copied, but I would be curious to know how many like people that are active on Pulsechain, like what that number, like how that's grown of like the 12,000 daily active. Like it seems like almost probably all of them are close to it or getting it. And I know that number cycles, like there's like hundreds of thousands of people that own Pulse, but and that it's not like always, I'm sure a lot of the 12,000 are the same people, but I know that number also cycles to different people daily. So it'd be cool if has anybody been keeping up with the number of holders, like to see like a week ago, what was it, or a month ago?
I guess I have not, but I do know that there's like a shit ton of holders of EDI, right?
Yeah.
And not all of those holders were copied over, right? So they didn't copy
Right.
everybody for some reason. I don't know how the hell that happened, or who the hell they chose who to copy or who not to copy. But yeah, I mean, you'll see there's like way more holders on the EDI side. And in terms of like how it's been growing over here, I guess I'm not really aware of that. I wish I would have paid more attention to those numbers.
Yeah, I'll check back. I'm gonna write or keep a mental note of 156,000. But that's like crazy to think about how many of those people probably don't even know that they've got something going up in value, like over here on Pulsechain.
And some of those Bitcoin dudes understand money better than anybody on the planet, period. I mean, they really understand what money is. And they're just like, they bought Bitcoin and they're never, ever, ever selling it. Like Michael Saylor, talk about a religion, talk about a cult. Michael Saylor telling people the best thing you could do for humanity is to die holding your keys and not sell your Bitcoin. Like these guys, and I'm not saying Michael Saylor's a true believer. I don't know the man. He might be, or maybe he's running a con. Who knows? But cats like that, I mean, that's what the Pulsechain ecosystem desperately needs. And I think we'll eventually get that. It's just going to take time. I mean, Bitcoin's been around, 13 years, longer, 15 years? I forget. It's been
Yep.
around a while, which is still a short lifespan, by the way. And Pulsechain's been out 4 months, 5 months. I mean, we can say, well, it's been 2 years. I'm like, no, the clock started when it launched. The clock did not start when we sacrificed.
Yep.
So it's just going to take time to find those guys who really don't care about fiat and things and stuff. Just looking for the real, I hear the term a lot, looking for the real cypherpunks. Can you turn yourself into one? I don't know. I'm not talking about you specifically, but will we find that? That's what I see in the Tang Gang. I see a bunch of guys who don't give a shit about the price and don't, just real diamond-handed dudes. Now, maybe that changes on the next double, but we'll see. It's interesting.
No, you bring up a great point, right? People who are like fiat minded versus, I guess, like the cypherpunk minded kind of people, and there's an extra like nuance in there where it's like the fiat maximalist perspective. Like the reason why that's such a big deal is because the fiat is the most liquid thing that exists. So it's like if you need to pay your bills, if you need to buy something that's necessary for your life, like fiat's how you're going to do it. And so you need to exit from crypto into fiat to be able to realize those gains. And so all of us to a degree like have an inherent like fiat mentality because that's how we get the things that we need, the goods and the services that we have. And so it's like, are you the person who's accumulating the fiat to upgrade your financial lifestyle to like give security to you and your family, or are you doing it like for the Lambos, the mansions, the yachts, et cetera, et cetera? Like, are you just here to accumulate a luxurious lifestyle because you've bought some code online, or are you a true believer? You've bought into the cult, the religion, et cetera, and then you just take out what you need for your day-to-day life, or to secure a lifestyle that you're comfortable with, right? And like we all have those obligations. We all have, even if you don't have a family and you're just an individual, you got to have a roof over your head, you got to have food on your table every day, etc. So it's like, at some point you have to exit into the fiat world, at least until, we get more widespread adoption of direct crypto to goods and services payments. Because we still don't even have that with Bitcoin. There's very few things that you can buy like in your day-to-day life with Bitcoin or even Ethereum, which has kind of gotten that blue chip status. So with stuff like in Pulsechain, HOA, there's still that, we can't just offload it directly to somebody because nobody accepts it. So we have to offload it into the market to like hurt the price chart, essentially, is the situation we're in right now. And that's kind of like one of the things that I want to start seeing a more are ways to garner liquidity from your tokens where you don't necessarily have to sell them directly. And we see some stuff with like liquid loans, fiat, the Aave fork that we have. But also like I want to see more stuff like that where we can like collateralize our crypto so we maintain our exposure, get the liquidity that we need for whatever we need it for IRL, and then like we still have our bag sitting at the side for whenever we want to unlock it by paying off that debt. And like, these are the tools that people in the traditional finance world use. Like Elon is taking loans out against his Tesla stock. I mean, I think he's been selling it, but like, anybody who's rich takes loans against the assets that they have, because if they sold them on the market, they would destroy their assets in the first place. And I want to see that dynamic more prevalent in crypto overall. And I think it's going to help price charts more because there are people who don't want to sell the tokens, but they have to because they need something in their real life. And that's just the unfortunate reality that we live in. But if we can have more off ramps that aren't directly into liquidity pools, I think that's going to bolster the entire ecosystem that much more dramatically.
Well, yeah, man.